So now let's work on a problem. You have been given a Cartesian plane with various points on it, and you have been asked to fill in this table where you are required to note down the abscissa, ordinate, coordinates, quadrant, and the signs of the coordinates of these various points. So let's look at it. So starting with A. So if you observe, A is on the y-axis and it is at a distance of 2 units from the x-axis. So the abscissa over here is the corresponding x-coordinate of this point. If you draw a perpendicular line down to the x-axis, it intersects that x-axis at origin, and the x-coordinate of the origin is 0. So the abscissa over here is 0 and the ordinate over here is 2 because it is right on the y-axis. So you just take the coordinate of that particular point on the number line of the positive y-axis, which is 2. So the coordinates are 0, 2. And the quadrant is, which quadrant is this? This really is not in any quadrant. This is actually on a positive y-axis. So we'll simply say it is y positive. And the signs of the quadrants are, as you see, 0 has no sign. We'll just leave it 0, positive. So let's look at the point B. For point B, in order to find out its coordinates, we draw a perpendicular line from B to the x-axis, and similarly we'll draw a perpendicular line from B to the y-axis. The point at which the perpendicular line intersects the x-axis is the x-coordinate or the abscissa, and the point at which the perpendicular line intersects the y-axis is the ordinate or the y-coordinate. So if you observe here, it is intersecting the x-axis at 2. So the abscissa is 2. So the abscissa is 2. The ordinate is 1. Ordered pair or the coordinates are 2, 1. And it's in the first quadrant. So you just write 1. And the signs, as you know, are positive and positive. Similarly, if you take the point C, it is right on the x-axis. So the abscissa would be just the point at which it's the point on the x-axis, which is 3. The y-coordinate or the ordinate is 0 because if you draw a perpendicular line from C to the y-axis, it intersects it at the origin. And the coordinates are 3, 0. The point C is not in any quadrant. It is on actually the positive x-axis. And the coordinates are positive and 0. Now let's look at the point D. In order to calculate the coordinates of point D, we have do the same exercise. We draw a perpendicular line from D to the x-axis, and we draw a perpendicular line from D to the y-axis. So the line intersects x-axis at 2. So the x-coordinate would be 2 and the y-coordinate is -2 because the line is intersecting the y-axis at -2. The coordinates are 2 and -2. This point is in the 4th quadrant and you will end up with positive and negative as the signs for the coordinates. Similarly, you can find out the coordinates for E by drawing lines. As you observe, this point is right on the negative y-axis. The x-coordinate would be 0 and the y-coordinate would be the point on the negative y-axis, which is -1. Coordinates are 0, -1. It is on negative y-axis and the signs are 0 and negative. Similarly, for F, you apply the same methodology and you will have the x-coordinate as -3 and the y-coordinate as -1. Coordinates would be -3, -1. It is in 3rd quadrant, so the signs are negative and negative. And for G, ordinate or the y-coordinate would be 0 and the abscissa would be -2. The coordinates are -2, 0. It's on negative x-axis and the signs are negative and 0. For H, you apply the same principles and you will have the abscissa as -2 and the ordinate as 2. The coordinates as -2, 2. It's in the 2nd quadrant. The signs are negative and positive. And finally, I is the origin. So the coordinates of the origin are 0 and 0. It is the origin. So I'll just say origin. As 0 and 0 doesn't have any sign, we'll just put 0 and 0 in the signs column. In the previous problem, we were given a Cartesian plane and some points on the plane, and you were asked to locate the points and write down the coordinates of those points. In this problem, we have been given the points and you are asked to actually plot these points on the Cartesian plane. We'll apply the same principles of drawing perpendicular lines and we will plot the points. So let's start with A. So you have been given A is -2, 2. So the abscissa is -2. So the way you plot A is you begin at the origin, move 2 units in the negative direction of x. The negative x is towards this direction. So you move 2 units and the 2 units is over here. So that's minus 2. And now from here you have to move 2 units in the positive direction of y, and the positive direction of y is this way. So you move 2 units and you will end up here. So if you draw perpendicular lines, you will end up over here. So this is your A, minus 2 comma 2, and it will be in the second quadrant. Similarly for B, you have to start at the origin and move 1.5 units in the positive direction of x. So the positive direction of x is this way. So you move 1.5 units. So you can probably say it will be somewhere here. And then you move 1 unit in the negative direction of y. So that ends up here. So this is your B. For C, as you see, you move 3 units in the negative direction of x and you will end up here. And the y coordinate or the ordinate is 0. So you remain there. You don't have to move in any other direction. So this is a point on the negative x-axis. So this is your C minus 3 comma 0. Similarly for D, the x coordinate is 0. You just stay at 0. For y, you move 2 units in the positive direction of the y. So you will end up here. So this is your D, 0 comma 2. And finally, E is minus 1 and minus 1. So you move 1 unit in the negative direction of x, end up here. And from there you move 1 unit in the negative direction of y and you will end up here. So this is your E. So in this way you can plot the points on a Cartesian plane.